Hello, so my last video called Halo May Never Recover did quite well. It's got 3,000 views in one day and it sits at number 1 out of 10 in my most recently uploaded 10 videos, which is very good. There is 100 comments on that video, so today we're going to go across all those comments and look at what people think about Halo, what the Halo community as a collective thinks about Halo. Granted, this is only 100 comments, but I think 100 is like the standard number for a survey, so this should be a good indication of what the general public is thinking towards the game. So we've got a comment here from, I assume this is Cell or like XL, I don't know, Zell, says, I'm one of those who only played the first few days of Season 3, but I also haven't played any other games since. I think the game should still objectively be content-rich by the end of the year. If they add a progression system to hook people in, it might be a good idea to relaunch the game, i.e. give it a big marketing push. I very much agree. I've kind of said the same thing. It needs a huge marketing push to bring people back in because the content alone, along with some YouTube trailers and, you know, Twitter and Facebook posts that get a couple 100,000 views, is not bringing people back to Halo. We need trailers and announcements that get millions of eyeballs to bring people back to this game. Comment number 2 comes from Rockabye Ruby that says, I loved Season 1 and I liked Season 2, but I couldn't get myself to stick around with Season 3 for more than a week. I'm fatigued, I just want Halo Infinite to be great. And they edited saying, as soon as I mentioned Firefight in my latest video, their brain lit up. All they ever did in Halo 5 was Warzone firefights while they listened to some streamer compilations and music, and that was fun. Halo Infinite with Firefight would at least keep their attention for a little while. I agree, Halo Infinite needs more PvE content because the non-updated campaign, I mean, I still think the campaign doesn't even have the bandit rifle, or like any weapon changes that multiplayer gets. It's just so out of date now, so we definitely need campaign updates, and we need some other PvE modes like a firefight or a Warzone firefight or a Spartan Ops style thing in Halo Infinite. Comment number 3 comes from, I'm going to butcher this, but Shreyash Ganjanan Lotikar, I think. They say, realistically it won't recover, but it's a good thing because losing the player engagement is the only way that the developers will learn not to release a half-baked, incomplete and shallow game. And this is actually, I think, one of the most liked comments in the comment section of this video, and I think the general public already know this. The only way that big gaming corporations are going to learn that they've done something wrong is if they are hit financially. Sadly, that is the reality of the industry. If you hurt a company financially, they realise they did something wrong because they didn't make a return on their investment. And Halo Infinite, for sure, I can tell you with 100% certainty, is not making return on investment because the rumour is that huge $500 to $600 million budget on the game. There's no way that campaign sales and the store that only probably gets a few hundred people using it per week is making return on investment for 343 Industries. Hello, Nate from the future here. I just want to interrupt this video to tell you about my third-person shooter game, very much inspired by Halo, called CrossPlanet. All I want to say is it's available to wishlist on Steam, so the link to the Steam page will be in the description below, as well as Discord link, Facebook link, and a Twitter link. It's very third-person Halo-esque with a bit of Unreal Tournament, Quake, inspiration from Gears, Mass Effect, Destiny, loads of different games. It's 2 years of hard work, and I'm sure we'll be putting a lot more time into it as well. So check it out, and thank you. Comment number 4 comes from ASY or Azzy that says, I hope Certain Affinity is working on the next Halo game. This also has 8 likes. And I replied saying, I believe they are doing. We've heard rumours about this and the whole Unreal Engine switch as well. And then some other guy commented, Convergence, saying they are, however they're going through a transition with Slitless to Unreal, so yeah, basically they're building the tanker thing from the ground up. So I think everyone pretty much knew this already too. Somebody with a very unique name called Halo Infinite 343 said they uninstalled the game a month ago, just watching videos and streams since. About 6,000 games played. Former flight tester, played Combat Evolved when it first came out, and this is what the game has become for them. That is also the most liked comment, many people agreeing. Personally for me, uninstalling is something that I would never do to a Halo game, but I certainly keep it installed and just never play it, or very often, you know, not very often. And there's a few people in here that agree. You know, people saying that, you know, this is, it's sad growing up grinding Halos 1 to 3, Reach as a teenager, and then Darkness. That's very much the same situation with me. Next comment from Thomas Cheeseman says, I game 4 to 6 hours per week and only play Halo Infinite. Right off the bat, this is me. This is exactly me. I only game maybe a little bit more than that, maybe 6 to 8 hours a week now. And I only play Halo Infinite. I'll play Halo for a couple hours a week, and that's basically it. Other than my own game that I'm working on, Halo is all I play. They also say they find it really hard to get games early in the morning in Australia. I've heard Mint Blitz have similar issues. And when they do have the opportunity to play, or when they can't get a game, they have to play the most popular modes, because otherwise they struggle to get enough games to complete things like their challenges in that amount of time. They also go on to say they're just a big Halo fan, and they want so badly for there to be a good Halo game. Mostly they just want new campaign or at least some PvE content. So again, that mention of wanting more PvE content has come up. Next comment from Clarencer says, damn, the fact Firefight doesn't exist for this long, and hell, even assassinations or dual wielding. I really enjoyed Spartan Ops from Halo 4 as well. I can't help but feel that so many basic things that in previous Halo titles have been missing. Things like Spartan models they never finished and just used the slider to adjust body types, took as an initial red flag. Would have been awesome if Halo Infinite involved us in exploring the whole ring, truly living up to its name instead of it being very finite, rather than infinite. They say that their time playing Infinite right now is pretty low, a total of only 54 hours compared to the gargantuan time they spend on other Halo titles during the Xbox childhood days. Again, this is me again. My Halo Infinite playtime is like between 150 to 200 hours total. My Halo Reach playtime was 464 days. When Halo 5 came out and I made the switch to that game. So I've played Reach again since then. I'm guessing now my total Reach playtime is probably sitting around 500 days of my life. So that's insane. That's several thousands of hours. The next comment certainly is an outlier from the rest that we've been showing here today, and this guy says so. I'm probably an outlier, but I play almost every day. I keep trying other games, but Halo for this person has been the right combo of 10 minutes of dopamine hits and rage between matches. Plus the community is dope and has lots of good vibes. I agree with this as well. Like, I only play Halo, and I think there is a good combination of like the dopamine you get and the struggles that you get as well. And the community in Halo is always really fun. So I do agree with this one. Besides the playing every day, I play, you know, every week, but not every single day. And as I've said before, if I do, I kind of limit myself to a couple of games, and then I'm struggling to have any real entertainment value there. Speaking of the next comment in the list, from T. Buell, I think. I've been really struggling to play this game lately. I can only muster up the energy for about 3 games, and then I lose interest for the rest of the week. Got to the point where I went back to MCC, and it's more fun in every way, and I don't know why, because there's no new content for that game yet. It's still much more enjoyable. I think the answer to this one is simply because MCC has got to the point where it now does have more content than Infinite. MCC is like 5 games in one, so there's much more maps, much more modes, and there's also the bit of nostalgia that keeps you playing. But I did the same thing. I went and played MCC for a couple of weeks as well when Infinite got very boring, and the player counts for MCC are also pretty much matching what Infinite's getting, so the Halo fanbase is very much divided between the two games still. And then finally, we'll look at this comment today. Alex says, I really only check for the weekly updates now. If it's something lame, probably won't play. But if it's the bare minimum for excitement, like a gun color coating, visor, armor piece, whatever, I will try and complete the weekly challenges. Other than that, still feel like I'm playing the same 5 maps over and over and there's nothing else to do, or really enjoy, or even earn. They don't care about the Season 3 items except for the level 41 armor coating. There's nothing to work for. I want to play, but it's so boring after a while. And again, this is just like, this is the bulk of the comments. There's some that are different, and there is some people in here that do still enjoy the game and completely disagree with me. There's a few people saying, oh, the 5,000 players on Steam is fine because that means there's 20,000 on Xbox and that means the game's doing really well. Stop looking at Steam numbers only. Like, there's those people in the comment sections, which is fine. You're entitled to your opinion. But as somebody inside the industry, I can tell you that 20,000 players for a Halo game is absolutely abysmal, and 343 are not happy with that number. 20,000 players for any upcoming game that hasn't yet got an established IP is amazing. Like, any other developer would love to have those numbers. However, for a big game released by a studio like Microsoft, it's a huge flop. And I think the majority of the comments we've looked at today, and the majority of the comments in this comment section, explain why. Again, it's just a lack of content out the door, people don't want to return, and those who do, they enjoy the new content for a couple of weeks, they play a couple matches per day, and that's all they can muster up, because after that, it just feels like a chore, it's repetitive, there's no enjoyment, it's boring, there's just not enough content coming quick enough to keep people playing the game. And that's pretty much it. I think we've all known this, but this just confirms it. Halo Infinite doesn't have enough content, and by the time that it does get enough content, I think because people have already played it all, it's like the issue is still not going to be fixed. You could add 3 new maps every season, which is going to be every 3 months. So you could add 3 new maps every season of the year. That's 12 new maps per year. It's still not enough. It needs a huge push. It needs double that amount of maps. It needs that amount of game modes. It needs a huge new thing like an extraction side shooter, a battle royale, a whatever, some PvE mode like Firefight or a Spartan Ops style thing, a campaign DLC. Halo Infinite needs a big pull and a huge marketing push. Without that, as I've said, I don't think Halo Infinite will ever recover.